Hello everyone, I am Ankit and you're watching StudyIQ IAS English channel. In our today's video, we are going to understand is Indian economy under what is known as a Goldilocks scenario, right? Now, before starting this discussion, the notes, if you want to download them, they will be available on the channel ATS Live. So what you need to do, open your Telegram app. On the top right hand corner, there is an option of search bar. Click on that and write the words ATS Live. You'll find the channel, but if you still have troubles in finding the channel, this is the QR code that you need to scan. Subscribe to the channel if you still haven't and download the notes, okay? Now, let us start our today's discussion by understanding why are we discussing the Goldilocks scenario, okay? Now, in a recent assessment of global economy, agencies like IMF and World Bank, they've highlighted that the global economy is going to grow less this year because of many problems. These are trade policy shocks, primarily by US imposition of reciprocal tariffs and geopolitical tensions that have happened after the war between Iran and Israel on one hand and the continuing war between Russia and Ukraine on another. And this in all have affected the global economic momentum, which is going to reduce the global growth rate this year. But as against the slower global growth rate, the growth of Indian economy is going to happen as expected because India is going to retain its growth momentum, which will allow it to grow at the growth rate of 6.5%, much higher than the global growth rate. Now, many experts, they've highlighted that this global or this Indian growth rate is a scenario where Indian economy is under what is known as a Goldilocks scenario, right? So what is a Goldilocks scenario? What are the examples? So what are the facts that highlight that Indian economy is a Goldilocks scenario? That is, we are going to understand in our today's discussion. But even more importantly, why are we discussing this article? Well, if you look at the previous year questions that have appeared in UPSC mains examination, you will get my point. Suppose this is the question of 2021. Here UPSC has given you a loaded question. This shares that do you agree that Indian economy has recently experienced a V-shaped recovery, and you have to give reasons to support your answers. Similarly, even if you look at the question of 2019, it says that do you agree with the view that steady GDP growth and low inflation has left Indian economy in a good shape? Well, you will think primarily by reading this article that this is giving you an option to agree with the question or to disagree with the question, right? But this understanding of the question is incorrect because this is a loaded question. UPSC wants you to justify what they've already said, that India is in a V-shaped recovery or India is witnessing a steady GDP growth and a low inflation, and you'll have to give arguments to support this position of the UPSC, right? So that is why I told you this is a loaded question. So similarly, a question might appear in this year's mains examination. Do you agree that India is under a Goldilocks scenario? And you have to give reasons to support your answers. So in that case, what you will do? You will watch this video, right? So let us understand first what is a Goldilocks scenario. Now, Goldilocks scenario in an economy means economy is neither too hot, meaning India economy is not witnessing an inflationary trend, or India's economy is not even witnessing a recessionary trend. That means Indian economy is neither too hot nor too cold, which means Indian economy is at the right position. And this right position is highlighted by many factors. First of all, India is witnessing a stable growth of 6.5%, which is very much higher than the global growth of 2.5% on an average. Similarly, the inflation levels of Indian economy is quite cooled off, and this is only because RBI in the recent times have reduced its repo rate by as much as 1% or 100 basis points. Similarly, the employment levels in India is quite healthy, and even the monetary and fiscal conditions are quite balanced, which gives government the headway to make changes to the policy to further support the growth momentum, right? So this is why India's economy is in a Goldilocks scenario. Now let us understand these factors one by one by giving you more important facts that you can use in your answers, right? First, let us understand how is India defining the global economic growth. Now, I told you various agencies like IMF and World Bank, they've pegged global economic growth at 2.8% by IMF and 2.3% by World Bank. And on the other hand, now see India's expected economic growth. Many agencies, including these many agencies, they've highlighted that India is expected to grow at 6.5%, which is a momentum carried from last year's growth, and therefore India is going to be the world's largest major growing economy, right? So this is how India is defying the global growth trends, and India is growing at a much higher rate as compared to global economies. Now, another factors that highlights good levels of economic growth in India is resilient domestic demand, and this resilient domestic demand emerges from many circumstances. For example, the State of Economy report of RBI last month of May 2025, it said that India's economic demand is resilient, and this can be attributed by many different factors. You can say that high frequency indicators like e-way toll bill of GST, toll collections done by the highway toll booths in India, and even the digital payments, all of them, they have grown in recent times. And whenever these indicators are growing, you automatically infer it as a rising domestic demand, because why would people make more payments in case their demands are not high, right? Similarly, even the rural demand is strengthening, and the most important indicator of rural demand is India's agricultural sector, right? Because agricultural activities primarily followed in rural sector. Now, India's agricultural growth is also quite robust, and this is because of good harvest that has happened during Rabi season. Similarly, favorable conditions due to early onset of monsoon has favored more sowing of crops in the Kharif season. Similarly, due to above normal projections of monsoon, it is also expected that the yield of crops during Kharif season will be more than usual, right? So all of this highlights that the income generated by agricultural sector in India will be high this year, and this will feed on to increasing the rural demand, right? So this is why our domestic demand is quite resilient, both urban and rural demand, right? Now, another factor that are contributing to robust growth of Indian economy is the capacity utilization, particularly by the manufacturing sector. And this is prominently in the manufacturing of capital goods, right? So whenever capital goods are being manufactured, you understand this will feed on to your growth potential, right? And after that, even the inflation levels in our economy have become quite moderate. You understand it is the statutory responsibility of RBI to keep our inflation levels between 2% and 6% of consumer price index, right? And in the last month, the inflation levels in India of CPI was just 2.82%, which means it is quite uncomfortable in the tolerance band which the RBI follows. And this means that prices of the commodities which were volatile beforehand have now become steady. And whenever inflation level is at a manageable levels, it allows RBI to pursue what is known as a growth trajectory by following a expansionary monetary policy. And therefore, RBI has reduced repo rate by as much as 100 basis point in the year of 2025. And whenever RBI reduces its policy rate, you understand RBI is following what? An expansionary monetary policy. And what happens after an expansionary monetary policy? It leads to promotion or growth in our GDP figures, right? Even other factors are contributing to high economic growth, and this is the levels of government borrowing, which is quite curbed under fiscal consolidation, and also healthy macroeconomic fundamentals, right? First of all, you have to understand that during COVID-19 pandemic, where government witnessed slowdown in its revenue collection and expansion in its expenditure figures, government borrowed a lot of money. But after COVID-19 pandemic, government is on a path what is known as fiscal consolidation, which means government wants to reduce its borrowing gradually. And even if you look at the budget figures that you can see from this graph, you'll see that the inflation levels, or sorry, the borrowing levels of the government was quite high during the COVID-19 pandemic era because government's expenditure was quite less. But after that, government has followed the trajectory of what is known as fiscal consolidation. And in fiscal consolidation, government reduces its borrowing. And when government's borrowing reduces, it reduces the inflation in the similar. Government can use its money for much better purposes. So this highlights that fiscal consolidation is underway, which will further cool off the inflationary levels in the economy. Other factors that have promoted to increase in revenues of the government, this is the robust collections done under indirect tax regime, that is GST and direct tax collection. So first of all, government is reducing its borrowing and expenditure. Government is making only those expenditure which is necessary. Similarly, the revenue collections of the government is quite high. And this highlights that government will use its money for much higher capital purposes like increasing the capital expenditure, right? And this you can witness the robust collection of government revenues even through this figure, right? So this figure represents the percentage of tax collection in terms of GDP, and as you can understand, in 2021 it was just 10.2% of GDP, and it has gradually increased to 12% now, increase in both direct and indirect tax collection. So this highlights that government's revenue collection is increasing, and as I've already told you, government is on a path of fiscal consolidation, which means borrowings are reduced. So this shows that India's fiscal position, macroeconomic fundamentals are quite robust. And not just that, we can even protect ourselves from external volatility. Why? RBI is maintaining a healthy figure of foreign exchange reserves. So in case the demand of dollar increases in Indian economy, RBI can safely increase the supply of dollar through using its foreign exchange reserves. So this highlights that India's government fiscal position is quite comfortable. But that does not mean that there is no risk at all. There are significant risks both in domestic economy as well as external sector. First, let us understand what are the domestic risks. Now, first of all, our industrial production is witnessing somewhat slowdown because it was just 2.7% in April, and India's core sector growth was just 0.8% during the last month. So this highlights that industrial activity is somewhat subdued. Similarly, even urban demand is slowing down, and this can be inferred from different figures like slowdown in vehicle sales or stoppage or reduction in demand of construction activities. Similarly, other key indicators like electricity demand is also reduced because of early onset of monsoon, and this is also pegged into slowdown in industrial production level. So this is the domestic challenge that we are going to face. Now, what about external factors? Now, first of all, the exports that India makes to other countries that are also not growing as expected because globally the growth is not as high as India. So our demand of export commodities, that is exports originating from India into foreign markets, are at low. And the global geopolitical situation and uncertain trade environment, particularly due to reciprocal tariffs of US, has also affected our export dependent sector, particularly the service sector. In addition to that, our Indian economy might also be subjected to external shocks. Primarily, if the conflict between Iran and Israel continues, it might lead to spike in crude oil prices as much as $120 per barrel, right? So whenever this happens, it will lead to inflation in Indian economy, and also it will disturb our current account deficit by increasing the current account deficit. So these are the overall shocks that the Indian economy is expected to face. Now you understand one factor that so many Delhi University students clear the exams in their first or second attempt. The reason behind it is that they are preparing for their UPSC exam right at the time when they start going to college at the graduation level. So this gives them about 2 to 3 years of good preparation time, and also them located in Delhi adds to their advantage. So they are able to consult experts in the field of UPSC because they are in Delhi, and they already get a head start because they are preparing for 2 to 3 years before the other aspirants. So that is the reason why so many aspirants from DU clear the exam and in their first and second attempt. But you also need to understand that with the onset of digital era, the level playing field has actually been created between the people who live in Delhi and people who are living in other parts of the country. Because using your internet, using the online medium, through YouTube, through paid courses, you can take each and every advice from the industry level sectors. So understanding your concern, understanding the demand that the students have made to us, we have also brought in something very similar to you, and this is called as a resolution batches for 2027. This is specifically meant for students who are in their first or second year of college, who are looking to get graduated from 27, and they are looking to give exam attempt of this UPSC exam in 2027 itself. So for you, GS Foundation course is for you, and we are taking admissions for the July batch. This batch is going to start from 15th of July, and it is right now available at 34,999, but it is available at 34,999 only if you use the code ATS Live. How to apply the code? What are the benefits? Let me tell you, okay? Now, first, you will be requiring to go to our StudyIQ IAS website, right? Once you go to our StudyIQ IAS website, select this all language option and click on English. As soon as you click on English, there will be many options that will be there for you. What I'm suggesting you is take this 2027 English resolution batches, right? This is available at 41,999 because this page says to you, but I will tell you a way where you can get discounts even on this amount using the code that is flashing on the bottom half of your screen. Okay, that code says use the code ATS live on any of the courses. So technically you can use that code on any of the courses which is available in this website. How to apply that code? Let me give you a demonstration. Okay, click on buy now here first. As soon as you click buy now, on your right, there is an option to add promo code. Click on that, and on the left, write ATS live and select apply. As soon as you click apply, you'll realize 7,000 rupees discount is now applied, and this course is available at how much? 34,999, right? And the validity of this course is 3 years, 4 months, or 40 months. So therefore, you can give this with this batch, you can even give exams later in 2028, right? Because it gives you more than 3 years of time. And the benefits are many. You obviously get live classes. So after your colleges, you can watch these videos on a live medium, but for some reason, if you miss out on live classes, you're also provided with recorded lectures, so you won't miss a class at all. Similarly, in case if you want help at any point of the day or night, you can contact one of our mentors. You'll be provided with a dedicated mentor, and that mentor will understand your circumstances, will understand what are your strong aspects, what are your weaker aspects, and will tweak your study syllabus or study timetable accordingly, which will suit your own circumstances. Similarly, you can practice your learning after the classes through answer writing program as well as prelims test series. So both your prelims and mains related test series and questions will be covered. And if you have problems in reading the newspaper, we'll also provide you with CAP modules, right? CAP modules or current affairs program are the books or handouts which are given to you every day, and these are just of important articles that come from important news sources, right? So every aspect of your syllabus will be covered under these courses, but please make sure to contact us in case if you have any doubt. This is the number 9240231070. Tell them that Ankit sir referred it to you, and also let them know to use the code ATS live because it helps you save 7,000 of your or your parents' hard-earned money. You can also contact me on the email ID. I will tell you the email ID. But first, let us deal with the practice question that I've curated. This is the prelims practice question that I've curated. Do let me know the correct answer in the comment section. You have to identify the correct options here. Which of the following suggests that Goldilocks scenario is in Indian economy? Okay. And another question is for mains practice question. Do you agree that Indian economy is experiencing a Goldilocks scenario? And you have to give reasons to support your answers. Please make sure to write these answers in 15 marks and 250 words. And the ones who want to get it evaluated, please do submit these answers on the Telegram channel ATS Live. I will suggest you what are the good and bad aspects of your answer. And in case if you want to contact me also, please email it to me, ankit.singh1@studyiq.com. Right? So this is the number that you need to contact. Please feel free to reach out us on this email ID or on this Telegram channel. Okay. So I'll see you again. Please have a very good day and try to write those answers because these are the differences in case if you want to clear your UPSC exam, right? Please do that.